Well, let's discuss the primary new features of Windows 10. New, of course, being a relative term depending upon whether you're coming from Windows 7, 8, or 8.1. So the primary new features of Windows 10 fall out into four categories: applications, security, administration, and evolutionary improvements of existing technologies. You notice the title says non-UI features because we'll be focusing on user interface changes in a few minutes. Well, in the continuing saga of Microsoft trying to figure out what to call applications designed for Windows 8 and above, remember we've had Metro, Modern, Immersive, and Windows Store apps over the past few years. There's a new term in favor now: universal apps, which are compatible with Windows, Windows Phone, tablets, and so forth. The idea of the universal platform is to attract developers, and we'll see if Microsoft is more successful in this regard than it has been up to date. And we'll take a closer look at universal apps in the upcoming brief demo. Also in the apps department is the new browser, Edge, which we'll also take a look at a bit later in this module, and an enterprise mode for Internet Explorer to make it work better in more situations. On the admin side, Windows Update gets an overhaul. Businesses, for example, can defer updates for several months, and clients can even update each other on the LAN if allowed by group policy. Windows 10 offers greater compliance with the Open Mobile Alliance device management specification, the goal of which is better, more consistent MDM, or mobile device management capabilities, such as software installation and device settings, feature management, and so forth. Now, in a big break with tradition, Microsoft has said that it won't offer new versions of Windows in major releases anymore, but that Windows is now a service that will receive continuous, ongoing improvements in a streaming model, what the company calls Windows as a Service. There's also a new provisioning method that lets administrators modify Windows installations without actually having to re-image them, something called provisioning, using a tool called the Imaging Configuration Designer, which we'll take a closer look at in a bit. The security side presents a variety of new capabilities. Windows Hello is a collection of biometric capabilities to let users sign into Windows with their fingerprint or retinal pattern or smiling face. This depends on the presence of suitable hardware, such as fancy 3D infrared cameras for the facial recognition piece. Microsoft Passport, which can leverage Windows Hello, is a way of authenticating to domain or cloud-based services, with the user's own device acting as an authentication factor. Device Guard will mean that only signed and trusted software can run on a system. This requires UEFI 2.3.1, second-level address translation in the CPU, plus somebody arranging for the signing of all of that software. Credential Guard stores derived credentials such as Kerberos hashes in a more secure, isolated container than the rest of the operating system, and it is hoped that hackers can't get to it as easily. Now, the client flavor of Hyper-V, Microsoft's virtual machine platform, gets some evolutionary improvements in Windows 10. We've got a dedicated module to Hyper-V later in the course. The Windows Store is evolving as well, and Microsoft is promoting a Windows Store for Business that isn't available as of this filming, but could make software distribution more convenient within the enterprise. And Windows 10 integrates with Azure Cloud functionality in several ways that we'll explore throughout the 9 courses in this learning track. So that's a summary of the major non-GUI changes. And now I'll demo a universal app and the Windows Hello feature, both on the personal laptop of a Globomantix Denver employee. So here we are on the Globomantix Denver employee's personal laptop, which is running Windows 10. And we can demonstrate a universal app. We can pick one of the ones that Microsoft provides, the Weather app. And the universal apps now look a lot more like traditional Windows desktop apps in the sense that, for example, they are resizable. We have the ability to see them on the desktop. We have the usual minimize, maximize, and close boxes. And we even have a settings menu, affectionately known as the hamburger menu over here on the left, which when you click will provide additional settings appropriate for that particular app. And in many cases, an app will give us the opportunity to sign into the app or go into more detailed settings. And again, the Universal app can run more or less the same way on a tablet or a phone. The user interface is designed for compatibility across a wide variety of form factors. Now let's take a little bit of a look at Windows Hello. So if we go to the Settings option on the Start menu, we can select Accounts, and we can select Sign In options. And we have a fingerprint reader on this system. And so Windows Hello appears as an option, but I need to set up a personal identification number before I can enroll in Windows Hello. So we'll go ahead and do that. First, it's asking for the account password, which we'll provide. And then it wants a PIN and confirmation. And once that's done, we now have the ability to sign into Windows via the fingerprint reader, which then requires some setup. Another option is to use a picture password. If I had a 3D infrared camera, facial recognition would also be an option here. And if I had a retinal scan capability, I could go that route as well. Probably current hardware is more likely to have a fingerprint reader than the other biometric technologies, but they will come in time.